Welcome back to New Rockstars. This is the big question, the show that gives you too much information about how to wish away your boss at work so that you can finally have casual Friday every day of the week.
Every single day!
Can you imagine seeing all of your coworkers' calf muscles every day of the week? Like heaven. Heaven on earth. My name is
Show off them legs. Show them off,
Let me see
baby.
them legs. That's
Let me
why
see them
HR was
legs.
made. To stop people like me from getting high.
Pretty much.
Just kidding.
Pretty much.
My name is MT, and I'm here today with off-screen producer Brandon. What's going on, Brandon?
Hello, MT. So glad to be back on BQ with you, my friend. Glad to be back.
Of course, I missed you, man. I love doing the show.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
It's been a little bit of a minute, but now we're in a new minute of mystery and questions. What's our big question up for today, Brandon?
Well, MT, the latest entry into the MCU, Thor Love and Thunder, introduced us to the villain known as Gorr. And he had one goal in mind, getting rid of all of the gods. Not an easy feat to do only one by one, right? That's a lot of work. But our butcher had found the cheat code. All he had to do was make it to the being known as eternity and wish away all those gods. But Thor, Mighty Thor, and Valkyrie all stood in his way and prevented Gorr from ultimately making his wish. You saw the movie. But what if they weren't able to stop him? That all leads us to this week's big question, which actually came from our amazing editor, Alexa. Thank you, Alexa.
Hey.
What would happen if Gorr had succeeded and killed all of the gods?
Ooh. Well, while wiping out all the gods in the MCU would certainly fix a lot of problems, you can be certain that the removal of these divine deities would also create a whole new set of issues in the delicate and vast ecosystem of the multiverse. So let's try and break down what the implications would be for an MCU that suddenly found itself without gods. And we'll start from the bottom and work our way up the holy food chain. Shall we, Brandon?
Oh, let's do it. Let's break down these gods.
Break them down!
a notch.
Take him down a peg. Jesus, Zeus, living too large, I'm gonna take you down a peg? All right, just kidding. Well, let's start with the gods of Earth, which is, a lot of gods. This brings up our first question. What would we consider a god? Because most of Earth gods are aliens from other planets or dimensions.
So if we're gonna go through this, right, MT, I think if a god is someone or something that's definitely worshipped, right? I think you have to have followers to be a god, or at least you have some ultimate like control or power, maybe. But I think a lot of it is just having like worshipers, right? Because you're right, a lot of our gods are just like aliens, powerful aliens.
Right. I feel like a lot of, well, at least the implication I got from Moon Knight is that like it really all comes down to like how many people are worshiping you and how many people are actively thinking about like this active god, and also like how much cosmic energy I feel like a god possesses. I feel like is also a huge contributor to what makes a god a god. Having a lot of people believe in you, I think like we know from like the duat, like all of that had to do with someone's like your beliefs and like what your consciousness and like what your consciousness mainly believed while you lived. So like I feel like there's some type of connection there. Right.
Because, like, we wouldn't call all of the Asgardians gods, right? But just like Thor and Loki and Odin and Frigga, those are gods. But not all of the Asgardians are gods. Even though they're all stronger than humans and they're, like, more powerful, they're not all gods. Because they don't have, like, all that cosmic energy. They don't have worshipers. Just the ones that, like, we're worshiping or, like, being followed, those are the gods. That's what we'll consider gods here.
But then Gorr completes his wish, and now all the gods of Earth are gone.
Be gone, fucks!
That means no more Norse gods, Olympians, or even the Ennead, who we just met. So no more Thor, Valkyrie, anybody. They're all gone.
Yeah,
so
because Valkyrie's a god. Do we consider Valkyrie a god? Or is Valkyrie just
she's
like a
gotta be.
warrior?
I mean, she's the queen god of gods.
She's the new Asgard king, right?
Right, okay.
And I think we would consider her a god. She's like, are all the Valkyries, though, would they be considered gods? Or just like her, because she's like the number one Valkyrie?
I honestly think that everybody in Asgard is a god, but like the actual big gods. Like there's like gods, and then there's like senior gods, like your Odins and your Thors and your Hellas. That have way more cosmic energy than because I feel like your Joe Schmo Asgardian citizen could absolutely destroy anybody on Earth because like they're just really strong.
Right,
they're
but that doesn't make them.
Earthling.
Yeah, I guess. But unless they come down and do that, the Earthling has no idea about them. They don't know,
Right.
you know, Jack Bryce, Asgardian. I don't know that guy, right? So he's not a god. Jack Bryce, Asgardian,
This
he's
is
fine.
true.
He wouldn't get
Right.
killed in the Wish. But if Jack Bryce, Asgardian, started coming to Earth and been like, worship me, and like picking up cars and like, you know, walking on water or some nonsense like that,
Right.
then people would be like, oh, I guess he's a god, and then he would get wiped out by this curse. If that were to happen. So we'll say Valkyrie's a god, but not everyone in Asgard.
Yeah, no more Ennead, so that's the end of like Moon Knight and all the other avatars on Earth that could be on Earth. However, even without a Bast, there would still be a Black Panther because the heart-shaped herb is what gives Black Panther his powers, and that would still exist.
Yeah, I think that's right, yeah.
But there would be no more Great Protector, which is quite sad because I liked going to Dragonland in Shang-Chi. It was very nice. And this also probably kills evil beings like the Dweller in Darkness, which is great, and Mephisto and Nightmare. So that's a great little thing because like they're sort of
you
like
get rid of good gods, but you also get rid of like the bad gods too. So that's probably good.
Because like a demon's just a bad god at the end of the day. So basically. But this also brings up the issue of afterlives. Do they all fall apart without gods? Because the afterlives are different realms, so they might be able to exist without the gods, but you know, people's souls have to go somewhere. And there would be no gods to protect the realms, much like how Odin kept the 9 realms safe. But in theory, the master of the mystic arts could protect Earth from other realms. But this also brings up the question if no new gods could exist after Gorr's wish. Because if a bunch of people got together and started worshiping someone, would they now become a new god? And like all this godly magic and cosmic power has got to go somewhere.
Okay, so let's think about it. Okay, first the afterlives, right? The afterlives probably still exist. Maybe these gods created them, but even if they're created and there's like souls there, like Valhalla or whatever, and you kill the gods, that place still has to exist, right? But then for something like the Duat in the Field of Reeds, you have Toweret, like Wang hearts and stuff, or you have like Anubis, Wang hearts. If they're gone, do people just like go in immediately? I mean, someone has to like take over, right? Because like all this cosmic power. So if you kill the gods, we talked about like cosmic power. You kill the gods, the power still exists, right? In the theory that, you know, energy can't just like go away. It has to be put somewhere.
Right.
If someone just like shows up, if the next person who dies and they show up in their afterlife and they're like, this is mine now, I'm taking it. But does that make them a god? Do they fill like a vacuum?
I mean, if you own an afterlife, I guess that makes you a god. I would assume so. So,
or maybe the people will just like hang out there and there is no ownership. It's just like a commune and everyone's just dead together.
It's free real estate.
It's free real estate.
It's free real estate.
It's free real estate.
Yeah, it's hard to think about because like someone's got to control these afterlives. So I think people just like start showing up in afterlives kind of willy-nilly. There's no organization to it. So maybe even if you're a Norse, if you're an Asgardian and you die, you don't wind up in Valhalla. You wind up in like the Duat, and you're like, "What's going on? I didn't follow this. I don't know the rules here. What are the rules?"
I mean, like, yeah, if all the gods die, like, what if like some time in the past, like all the gods got together and like divvied up the little like afterlife realm? It's like, all right, this little area is yours, and like, you know, and this area is mine. So, but like, if all of them are gone, then like anybody could show up anywhere and be like, "Oh shit, this is just unclaimed land."
Right.
So I guess I'll take it and become a god.
But that doesn't make that a bad thing. That doesn't make that a bad thing, MT, because we're we're talking as an oppressed people. These gods are keeping us down, and they're telling us like, no, you need us. You need us gods here to keep you all safe. But if we get rid of them, it's going to be chaos. So don't get rid of us. But I think we should get rid of them. Let the chaos reign. Let things figure it out.
Let the chaos reign.
But that other point you brought up, MT, could you make a new god? Like, does Gorr's wish mean no gods can ever exist, or does it just kind of like wipe the slate clean? And if people want to start worshiping something, they can. Or like the second you start getting worshipped, you just die. Because you're like, no, don't make me a god, don't make me a god. And then you just die.
Realistically, it would probably just cover all the gods that were present at the time of the wish. Much like, you know, Thanos' snap erased half of like all life on Earth. Like that didn't mean that more life couldn't be made.
Yeah. So it's just like it's like a hard reset. That's what we're going to say is happening here.
It's like,
okay.
Yeah, it's like, all right, all the godhood of the universe is corrupt, so let's just get rid of it. And if more gods show up in the future, then so be it. But like, let's just try a universe without gods. Is basically what Gorr's going for.
If a new god shows up, we'll remind him, like, hey, we had gods and we got rid of them, so you better be good. You better be a good god. This will all happen to you. Look at this. Look at this graveyard full of gods. We're watching you.
That'd be amazing. But yeah, everything that would be happening on Earth with its gods would also be happening on every other planet with gods. And while Earth might not have a lot of followers for its gods, some of the other more devout planets might have issues with their gods suddenly disappearing. And this could lead to some intergalactic wars as planets try to cope with the sudden disappearance of their gods, and we see like a little bit of that happening in Thor 4 with King Yakan. And like at the beginning of the movie with the Guardians, it's like, yo, something happened to our gods. I don't know if I'm misremembering that. I had to go to the bathroom during that part.
They're like not protecting the temple, and now these owls have taken over the temple. They're like, where are our gods? They're not protecting things.
So yeah, unless they knew about Gorr and his mission, they would be totally in the dark about what just happened.
Yeah, there would totally be some planets where they're like, our god's dead. We're going to go kill another planet now. And someone had to explain to them, like, no, there was this guy Gorr. He was doing this whole thing. It makes me think about the snap, right? There were these planets where the snap happens. They don't know what the snap is. They don't know who Thanos is. They're just going about their day. And all of a sudden, half the planet just dusts away. And they're like, well done. And then like 5 years later, half of them come back and they're like, what happened? They have no idea what happened unless someone from Nova showed up and told them what happened. But like they have no idea what's going on. It's like that episode of Rick and Morty where they're like, I guess we should believe in the floating head, right? Because that's a thing, and we should tie balloons to ourselves. It's like people would just be making up things. So you would have these like war planets who are like, someone killed our god, so we're going out there to kill everybody, and you have to explain to them like, no, this is someone made a wish. You're fine. It happened to everybody. Don't get crazy about it. But this would cause a lot of chaos. Like people would be wild
shit. I've never really thought about that. Like some planet that like has no connection to any other planet. It's like, wow. Yeah. My wife and kids are all gone, and like they have like a whole new family, and then they come back 5 years later. Yeah. It's like, what is going on?
They have no explanation to what's going on. So yeah, their god's suddenly dead, and they're like, I guess we should just go kill other planets. I don't know.
Right.
Our god's gone. What do we do now?
I'm trying to think like if there's any Marvel alien race that might be triggered.
I mean, I will always say the Kree, because the Kree, everything sets them off. No matter what happens.
Oh yeah, the Kree are the weirdest. And like honestly, like the Supreme Intelligence is basically like a god. And like the Supreme Intelligence is essentially an MCU afterlife. Because like that's where all the Kree consciousness goes at the end of their lives. Like,
so do you think if Gorr succeeded, would that kill the Supreme Intelligence? Do you think that? Because I would say the Kree worship the Supreme Intelligence.
Yeah,
it's their god. I think that's a good point.
Yeah, I would say the Supreme Intelligence would go, because like that is a god in itself. It's just like
you're not safe, computer. You're dead.
You ain't safe. You ain't safe. You weirdo.
You ain't safe, Minesweeper. You're dead. You're dead.
But yeah, no, like, oh man, I really would like to see what I hope What If Season 2 goes into what if Gorr succeeded, because like it would be so
freebie. There's a free one for you, Kevin.
That's a freebie.
Write it down.
We're doing your job for you guys. Jeez.
Give us a credit. Give us a story by credit. Come on, Kevin. Come on.
We'll also take some of that sweet Marvel green, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'll take some money. Money, please.
Money, please.
But we also got to talk about the extra dimensional gods, because moving up the god food chain a little bit, we have these extra dimensional types of beings. And there would also be the gods that aren't necessarily tied to a single planet and move a little bit more freely about the universe. And we mentioned him earlier, but this would be an entity like Dormammu, ruling over the dark dimension, or even Mephisto, ruling over the Hell Lords, or Shumagorath, an ancient demon who has ruled over many dimensions. A little one-eyeballed little demon, like sort of like we saw in Multiverse of Madness. And all these tentacle boys. I can't wait to see more tentacle boys in Doctor Strange 3. Woohoo! I was really sad when that eyeball, what's his name?
I know.
Gargantos. When he died, I was like, he was just being used. You just took his eyeball out, you jerks. But any of these extra-dimensional beings that could be considered a god would be wiped out. And perhaps the biggest threat to them being gone would be their dimension careening out of control. Like, for example, without Dormammu, would the dark dimension still try and consume other worlds?
That is a good question, MT. I think it probably would. I think the nature of the dark dimension is it wants to absorb life, right? It wants to absorb the light. And Dormammu just kind of steers the ship a little bit. But if you kill Dormammu, I think if he's wiped out, the dark dimension still exists, like that energy still exists. It's probably just going to keep spreading, right? Just a little more chaotically.
Right. I think that the point of Dormammu was that Dormammu is supposed to be the only consciousness within the dark dimension, which is why when Caecilius was going to go into the dark dimension, it's like, you got to be part of the one. Like, there is no individuality here. It's like, it's Dormammu or nothing, baby. Like, there is no, like, there doesn't seem to be any anybody else, or at least a lot of other people, because we know that Clea seems to be native from the dark dimension. Yeah, she lives
there, right?
So, like, there aren't a whole lot of other people there. So, like, maybe if Dormammu's gone, like, there's just a slot left. It's like, hey, we have all this energy, all this dark power. Who wants to be the next Dormammu?
Yeah.
It could be you, Clea.
You need Mephisto kind of ruling over the dream dimension and, like, keeping it in check. Even though they're doing bad things every now and then, they do some bad things. They're doing some good. They are controlling these dimensions. Like, Shuma Gorath kind of lives in whatever dimension he wants to live in. He can die.
He can die.
Wipe him out. He's just taken over. Wipe him out. But yeah, some of these, you know, I hate to say it, you need them there. You need them there doing the work. And yes, a few billion souls have to perish. Whatever, that's life. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
And I feel
Gorr,
like
you're messing things up here.
No, but I feel like, you know, like you said, like they could be playing a cosmic role in keeping the darkness from consuming other universes.
For sure.
Like, we know that in Multiverse of Madness, we got the introduction of the incursions. And so, like, I'm sure that these dark beings probably don't want the end of the multiverse, because that would include them in a way. It's like, hey, we're dark, but, like, we're also a crucial part of this universe. So the end of this universe through the incursions and Secret Wars and all that, not the best thing. So, like, we are doing our part to make sure that Dormammu doesn't actually succeed and go into other universes. But yeah, no, it's I feel like we haven't really explored the dark role of the dark gods of the MCU yet. Yeah. And so it'd be really interesting to see if Gorr succeeded and killed them all, because, like, I feel like things would just go completely out of whack.
Yeah, it would be great. I know we're talking about what if he succeeded, but he did kill some gods, right? He did kill some in Thor Love and Thunder.
I feel like Thor killed more gods than Gorr did.
I know, right? That we saw on screen.
Yeah, that we saw on screen. My God.
It would be funny as we keep going through, like, Phase 4 and on, and, like, the MCU, if it still gets brought up that, like, oh yeah, 10 years ago Gorr killed this god, and it's still affecting, like, the problems that we're having right now.
Right.
Especially if he killed some, like, dark dimension type gods, and, like, their stuff is just spilling out into the cosmos now. And it's like, Gorr killed this guy. Now we gotta deal with this.
Dude, I would love, I mean, this would never happen. I don't think Gorr's not this strong, but, like, if Gorr killed Galactus, like, a long time ago, that'd be such a fun way of, like, explaining why Galactus wasn't around. But, like, I think that Galactus is still being set up, but, like, it'd be really fun to think about that.
Hey, it's a big universe, MT. He just hasn't made it to our little pocket yet. He's out there.
Right? He's on his way. He's just munching. He's on a buffet. Nom nom. But let's talk about the cosmic gods, because as we keep moving up the godly food chain, there's also the cosmic gods out there that also could be destroyed by Gorr's wish. This would, of course, include the Celestials, and they would be all wiped out in our universe, which, depending on how you view the Celestials, might be a good thing.
Yeah, it could be good.
I don't think that this would eliminate the Eternals, though, because many of them were often confused for actual gods.
Because you could say that, like, some of them were worshipped, like Athena was worshipped, but there is an actual Athena, and, like, so maybe by the rules of this wish, like, all the Eternals would be spared, even though they got confused for gods all the time. They'd be like, well, you weren't actually the god, so you're fine. But yeah, the Celestials, they're gone. They're gone for sure.
The Eternals have to fill out a form to Gorr. Just be like, I'm not actually a god, please.
I'm not actually a god. I'm just a robot.
Omit me from the wish.
I was programmed to act this way, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
With the Celestials gone, this might mean an end to the creation of new galaxies in our universe. And that could be a problem down the line, many millennia from now. But for the immediate time being, you know, no real big problem. Plus, you know, no more emergencies, which is great. It's great for all the people that live
Yeah.
on planets because they don't want to
Kill the
die.
Celestials. Boom. Gone. No problem with me,
Yeah.
Gorr. Wipe them out. Wipe them out, baby.
Though the Celestials do exist outside of the multiverse, this would definitely put an end to them within the MCU 616 universe. But would they be able to be reborn in the MCU at some point?
Because we have talked about this, MT, how the Celestials exist like outside the multiverse, right? They created it.
Right.
And they kind of project their avatar into our multiverse. But even if you kill, like, you know, Urson? No,
Arishem?
Arishem? Yeah. Even if you kill, like, the Arishem in the 616, he still exists outside of it, and he just has to go, okay, and, like, reproject himself in. So, like, I think you can wipe out the Celestials, all of them within the MCU. And even in Marvel Comics, like, one Celestial has been able to, like, recreate all the other ones, right? So you wipe them all out, but I think eventually they would, like, reproject into our... They'd realize they'd been killed in our universe and be like, hold on a second. Wait, guys, we need to go back to the 616. We've been wiped out there. Let's all get together. Let's do the ham thing. Let's spin some galaxies and let's get back in there. I think they would eventually show back up again, right?
Right, because like we learned from Eternals that the Celestials are actually they run on a billion-year cycle. Because like Arishem says, every billion years Celestials are born. And like we see from Eternals that Arishem himself looks kind of old. He looks like he's crumbling apart, and like
he's got some dry skin for sure.
Yeah, he's not looking too hot. So I think that, you know, even if all the Celestials were killed, like they knew that their lives aren't infinite. I feel, from like in my opinion, and that like all the babies inside of every planet will eventually become Celestials because like eventually there's going to be a certain point where humanity hits the amount of energy that they need to emerge. So like, even if the Celestials died, would the babies in them also die, I guess?
I just think the little seeds inside the planet, if Gorr's successful, right? The little well, that's a good point, MT, because they're not gods yet. They're just little seeds.
Right.
So maybe there still would be emergences because they don't get worshipped. They just get like life energy. So yeah, maybe you wipe out the Celestials. And then the Eternals don't know what to do because their boss is dead. And they're like, I guess we just hang out on this planet. They never get told about the emergence. And then, yeah, maybe the emergences still happen. So I think all of the Celestials, there aren't a Celestial who's not a god. So I think even those life seeds would be like wiped out. You know what I mean?
True.
I think they would get wiped out too. I don't think Gorr has thought this through. I do not think
he
Gorr
hasn't thought it through. He's just angry. He's just living in his emotions. Like, come on, Gorr, think about it. Think about it. We need the Celestials. Come on, man.
No, I don't know if we need them. I don't know if we need them.
We need constant cosmic genocide. Come on, Gorr, think with your brain. Just kidding. But yeah, there's also cosmic beings like Galactus that could potentially be wiped out. And he controls the very powerful power cosmic, in which without a Galactus controlling it, would just be flowing around in the universe. It's quite dangerous.
Like you have all those, there's a lot of cosmic beings, right? You know, they're all over Marvel Comics, and they'd all get wiped out. And they kind of work as like the engine of the universe, right? Like Galactus is consuming old galaxies.
Like he keeps balance in the MCU.
Yeah, it's all part of balance. So you kill Galactus. Galactus was like the last living man from the previous universe.
Mr. Gallon.
He gets the power cosmic, and he's eating. So now he's gone. Because he's definitely a god. He's a big G god, right? He's dead. So now all that power cosmic, I think it's just flowing around, kind of like the Phoenix Force. And whenever it's going to just find a new person and make them Galactus, I think.
Probably.
You can't kill the power cosmic. Like, Gorr wasn't wiping out the power of the universe. He was wiping out the gods. So you kill Galactus, but there's going to be a new Galactus eventually. Like, you can't stop.
Exactly, because like Galactus was basically made from the combined, I believe the combined energies of like the next Big Bang. Like, he was at the end of his universe, and so he basically went into the Big Bang, and like he got all that energy. So like if he just died, all the energy, like you said, has to go out somewhere. So somebody's gonna become another Galactus. Yeah. Because I just feel like people are just doomed to like absorb this energy and be changed in different ways. And that's sort of the story of the Marvel Universe. Oh man, this is so interesting to talk about. And then there's also the Watchers, which would also be wiped out as well. And though they just watch, so they might not necessarily be all that missed. But of course, a bunch of other random cosmic gods like the Builders, the Elders of the Universe, the Stranger, the Hawk God, all gone. And we know that from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, that Stakar is an MCU character, and in the comics, he is basically the avatar of the Hawk God, like we just said. So that's probably a factor. That might be a factor in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I'm very excited for. But yeah, the Elders of the Universe, the Builders, which were teased in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, with like there's Builder machine code all over the yellow ship that they used to destroy Ego's core. So like the Builders do exist in the MCU. So yeah, like I'm just wondering what that whole domino effect could be. Because like the gods are huge in the universe.
Yeah. A lot of those elder gods, like they've kind of done the work already, right? Like the universe has been built and now they're just kind of existing. So I guess if they get wiped out, no big deal. Yeah, the Watchers getting wiped out is interesting because they're kind of watching what's going on. But if there's no like big gods to kind of screw things up, then like they don't need to be watching and keeping track of everything because it's like, well, if the big gods are gone, who cares? Like this will all figure itself out. So yeah, we'd miss the Watchers, but that's just because we like What If, and we won't have What If the Watchers are gone.
We just don't know what's going on in the multiverse.
But yeah, a lot of these big gods behind the scenes, you might not notice it at first, but for like the long tail of the universe, it would be bad if they suddenly disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not the Elders of the Universe, because like they're pretty much selfish people, so like they're just doing their own hobbies. But let's move up another tier to the abstract gods of the MCU, and these would be the ultra-powerful forces in the cosmos that cover abstract ideas. And we're talking about death, oblivion, infinity, and even Mr. Eternity himself, who we saw in Thor Love and Thunder, meditating like a man who just likes meditation. I like meditation. It's great. In theory,
the whole universe.
These forces, legit the whole universe. In theory, these forces keep some sort of semblance of balance in the universe. So could they be wiped out by Gorr's wish? And would Eternity just like, off himself? And like, is this even possible?
Yeah, I don't know. I think these guys might be too big, right? You have to have like the concept of death and infinity and eternity. Like, I don't know if you could just wipe them out because the universe still needs life and death. It needs like growth and entropy. So like, you can't just like wipe it all out. And I don't think Eternity would be like, oh, okay, I'll just kill myself. Get out of here, Gorr, you idiot. That's probably what Eternity would say.
Are you saying that Eternity
I think
is
if
bigger than the Boogeyman?
Yeah, way bigger than the Boogeyman.
Sorry, that was a VeggieTales reference.
I don't know I don't know your evangelical VeggieTales nonsense.
That's all my other the church kids know what I'm talking about.
Eternity is bigger than the Boogeyman. He's bigger than Godzilla or the monsters on TV.
Sorry, I'm done.
The Boogeyman is real, kids, and he'll get you. Oh, he'll get you.
The Boogeyman is Gorr.
Yeah, I don't know, because like, I don't think Eternity would like fall for that. He'd just be like, no,
right?
I'll kill all the gods beneath me and my pals, but no, you can't kill me because Eternity is the universe. You can't like kill it.
Right. Like, I don't think that Eternity would, like, Eternity has its best interests at heart. Like, at the end of the day, all life in the universe has its best interests at heart, and it will, do whatever it takes to defend itself. So I think Eternity will do pretty much anything but that. Yeah. Anything but.
I think this is where Eternity is like, I can't kill death, infinity, and oblivion. I can't kill all that, but we'll kill everything else for you, my man. We'll make a deal here. I'll make a deal with you, Gorr.
Right? Let's strike a deal.
No problem.
Let's make a deal. Let's get Howie Mandel here. Let's get the banker here. Deal or no deal. All right, we've made it to the very top of the god pile. So let's talk about a couple of heavy hitters here. And there's the Living Tribunal, of course, who is the cosmic entity that oversees all of the multiverses, making sure they stay in balance and no one universe becomes too powerful. Is this being too big for Gorr's wrath?
Yeah, I don't think Gorr gets to kill the Living Tribunal because they're above like the they oversee the multiverses. There's no way. There's no way.
There's
you
no
don't
way.
Get to kill.
No. Yeah, I feel like all the Gorrs need to be working. All the Gorrs of the multiverse need to be working in tandem to go get.
If all the Gorrs make the wish at the same time, then maybe I'll allow it.
Yeah, but it's too much. Way too much. Then we also have the Fulcrum, which is what the Celestials and the Watchers all worship or follow, and basically the embodiment of the consciousness of the one above all. And speaking of, we should include the one above all. And this is the very top of the MCU's god hierarchy. often portrayed by Stan Lee or Jack Kirby, or in the instance of the MCU, you could also include Kevin Feige. It's like, are they safe from Gorr?
I mean, here's a wild thought, MT. We know we lost our boy Stan Lee. We lost him.
R.I.P.
Was that Gorr? Was that Gorr making it to eternity, being like, kill all the gods, and then our Stan Lee drops dead because Gorr made it to eternity? Did Gorr kill Stan Lee? Did he do it? Is it possible?
Oh my God. I mean, canonically, that would be very weird in the MCU.
Stan Lee's just walking down the street, Gorr makes it to eternity, and like all the gods gotta die, and then Stan Lee's like, and then just like dies. That's how powerful
he is a watcher informant, so like he is a god. But like I highly doubt the MCU would go that route.
I'm just saying, did the police look into Gorr for the death of Stan Lee? That's all I'm asking.
Seriously, that's his biggest crime if true.
In one version of the multiverse, Gorr makes it and kills Stan Lee. That's all I'm saying.
How dare you, Gorr? My God, I never actually thought about that because, like, yeah, that would include Stan Lee because Stan Lee's a god in the MCU.
He is the god. Isn't that so dark?
Rude, Gorr. Don't do it.
Some dark
Don't
stuff.
do it. Wow, in one universe in the multiverse, Stan Lee gets murdered by Gorr. I've never actually thought about that. That is hardcore shit.
That's how it happens. Someone update the Wikipedia right now. Cause of death, Gorr.
Gorr. But yeah, no, speaking of the one above all, this is, again, not to be confused with the other one above all that we just saw introduced in Thor 4, who is a celestial with the same name, which is very weird. Like one of the statues almost fell on the kids, and then Thor grabs it. He's like, oh, not today. Here's my power, kids. This is like the real one above all, the biggest, the head honcho. He could definitely he's totally safe. Like, there's no way that he would be affected.
Because they control eternity, and they'd be like, no. That ain't happening. That ain't happening.
So this is just a small look at all the consequences of Gorr's plan if it were successful. And while many agreed with Gorr after seeing Thor Love and Thunder, do you think that he was still in the right here?
I mean, he's got a good heart. He's got the right idea. A lot of these gods
deep
are
underneath all that darkness, there is a good heart under there.
I think a lot of the gods are problematic. We should wipe out a fair amount of them. But I think just throwing a full blanket, kill all the gods, I don't think it's fair. It's not a good idea. I think we've shown it's a little messy. I think his original plan is fine. Going one by one, door to door, taking out the bad guys. That's fine by me. But you can't just wipe everything out. Because again, it's going to create this like power imbalance. The wrong people are going to get the cosmic power. It'll just create more problems than we could deal with right now. So I think, I was on Gorr's side a lot of this movie, but like, I think the ultimate plan of making it to eternity, while it's smart, great hack, great cheat code, not a good idea. Not a good idea at all.
Yeah.
We need some balance going on. As an oppressed person underneath the boot of all these gods, here I am kissing it, saying, please stay gods. I can't believe I'm saying this. Jeez. But yeah, keep some gods around. I can't believe myself right now.
I do think that Gorr had a lot of like really legitimate grievances. I think that he should have just like really specifically tailored which gods that he murdered. Like only the bad ones, only the lazy ones maybe. The ones that like clearly don't give a about people, go to town. But like, your nice gods like Thor and like Jane, just leave them be. They clearly give like literally one of them's on the Avengers. Like, come on, man. Like, give him a break. Gorr, not right in his actions, but like we definitely see where you're coming from. Because
we see where you're coming from.
Sometimes they just don't hear us.
Your God sucked, for sure. Your God really sucked and deserved to die.
The Gorr's God especially deserved to die. He deserved that. I was actually quite happy. But anyway, what's also godly? NewRockstarsMerch.com and capitalism. So yeah, be sure to head on over to NewRockstarsMerch.com to check out our latest obsession shirt inspired by Thor Love and Thunder called Worthy of Love. The shirt is limited edition, and once it's gone forever. So check out all of our awesome merch options over at NewRockstarsMerch.com. It's a great way to support the channel and a great way to look good while doing it, because like you got to multitask. I mean, you're a multitasker. Come on,
you're
such a good looking person too. So you would look so good in our shirts. Just saying.
Lilu Dallas multitask.
Seriously, MT stands for multitask. I do it terribly. And before we dive into our bite-sized questions next, some words from the people to help bring Big Question to you. People like Avast. Arg. Do you worry about... I don't know why I just arg. It's like Avast, matey. Like, is that a pirate term? I don't know.
I think that's a very modern pirate term that we've ascribed to the pirates. I don't know if they ever said Avast.
Avast!
I don't know. I don't have a lot of pirate friends. But hey, do you worry about the many nefarious forces out there looking to get a piece of your computer? Well, Avast is a global leader in cyber protection for more than 30 years and trusted by over, get this, 435 million users and prevents over 1.5 billion attacks every single month. Avast's new all-in-one solution, Avast One, helps you take control of your safety and privacy online through a range of features. Avast One is their best protection yet, giving you everything you need to control your safety and privacy online and accessible through a single easy-to-use interface. Avast's multitude of features provides you with privacy and security as you scour the web and even help with your machine's performance. I like their award-winning antivirus that stops viruses and malware from harming your devices, as well as its data breach monitoring that will alert you if your online accounts have been compromised. Plus, you can feel confident using public Wi-Fi when you're out there in the wild thanks to their firewall protection, which keeps your personal information secure and prevents others from trying to access your computer and steal all of your precious data. So thanks to Avast for supporting Big Question. Confidently take control of your online world with Avast One. It helps you stay safe from viruses, phishing attacks, ransomware, hacking attempts, and other cyber crimes. Learn more about Avast One at avast.com. And thanks again to Avast for sponsoring Big Question. We love you. But now it is time for our bite-sized questions. Are you ready, Mr. Brandon?
I think I'm ready. Let me. There's one.
Grab some.
Delicious.
Wow, we have another question from Crispy Chrissy, always with the best questions. Thank you, Crispy Chrissy. Now, Brandon, would it have been possible for Thanos to also get dusted when he snapped his fingers, or is the person snapping immune? Crispy Chrissy, thank you.
Yes, good question. Well, there are a couple things to consider here, okay? Thanos was a big stats guy. He loves statistics, all right?
Yes,
he didn't
math.
really hold out a grudge, okay? He wasn't there for a grudge. He just wanted to wipe out half of the life in the universe randomly. No hard feelings, guys. This is just business, okay? He didn't care if it was his enemies or his friends. Remember when he was beating the crap out of Tony Stark and he's like, I hope they remember you. Bye. And he just leaves. He could have killed him, but he's like, I'm going to do a snap. You might die anyways. Who cares, right? He let the random number generator of the Infinity Stones decide, okay? He doesn't care who dies. He just wants to get his job done. With that in mind, it would seem like he would be willing to die for his cause too. When he does the snap in Infinity War, he immediately goes to the Soul Stone death puddle, all right? He looks at his hand. He sees like the gauntlet's gone. It's not on his hand. He talks to a young Gamora. And he's probably like, yeah, I'm pretty dead. He probably thought in that moment, I snapped, I did it, I'm dead. Great, problem solved, awesome. And then he like snaps back, right? Well, it doesn't snap back, he comes back. He's back into Thor's beautiful arms, and he looks down and he's got the burnt gauntlet on his hand, and he's like, oh, and he like looks surprised.
Yeah, he's like, I'm alive? This sucks.
And he's like, oh, I'm still here. Oh no, I'm still here. This sucks. What did I do? And then like he immediately, he's like, and then he like yeets out of there, right? And he goes to his farm planet, and he's like, cool, thank God I got out of there. Okay. Now, if it were truly random, and we got to consider this too, okay? If it was truly random, if he's just like in his mind, he does a snap and he's like, wipe out half the life in the universe. And he is like the last Titan left alive, right? He's the last person of Titan left alive because everyone else from Titan is dead. And it would be weird for his little like Infinity Stone spell to wipe him out if his little spell in his mind was like wipe out half of all life based on species. Because if he's like half all life in the universe, it might not affect species and different planets equally, right?
Right.
But in his mind, he was probably like wipe out half the life on every planet. So then if he's the last Titan, then the stats I think are in his favor to not get wiped out. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Well, like him and Arrows are the last Titans, basically.
Oh, that's true. I guess Arrows is still alive.
50-50.
So he could have killed his brother in this. It would have been brutal. I don't know if he knows if Eros is still alive. I don't know. Anyways, it's risky. It's risky for him.
Right.
But MT, we also know that part of this like little snap spell that you do is thinking about what you want. Because when Tony is prepping Smart Hulk to undo the snap, he reminds Bruce to bring back everyone, but to not change anything from the last 5 years, because him and Pepper had sex and they had a baby. So he's like, don't undo that. So it's possible that this wimp, this coward Thanos, could have been preventing his demise with a little mental caveat when he did his cute little snap. He was like, wipe out half the life in the universe, but keep me alive, please. I don't want to die. But I like to think that Thanos was a true zealot and was willing to die for his cause. So yeah, I think he was rolling the dice here. I think he could have died. I don't think he would have prevented his own death. He wanted to die. He wanted to wipe out the universe. He wanted to be on his farm, which, you know, when you buy the farm, it's a metaphor for dying. He wanted to die. But he lived, and he was like, well, I guess I'm living with the consequences of my own actions. Oh, boy. And he got his head chopped off for it.
Whoops.
That's how it goes. Whoopsie doopsie.
I like
Not
that
so
answer,
grateful,
Brandon.
this universe, I guess.
But no, I like that answer, Brandon. I personally think that Thanos is just too selfish. And like he's like, you know what? I have my retirement farm.
Don't kill me, please.
I think he purposely was like, yeah, I'm going to save myself because like I'm the only one to save the universe. Just in case this happens again, I need to be around to do it again, you know. Okay. But you know, I really
think in
like
true Thanos fashion, we can be split on this answer, just like we split the lives of the universe.
We can be
true
50-50.
Balanced perfectly, like a little knife.
Like all things should be. Now, Brandon, I got another question for you to keep things balanced.
Hit me up.
Hit me up. 1 and 2. How does gravity on starships work in the Star Wars universe?
Oh boy, this is a good one. This has bothered me a little bit, especially watching like some of Obi-Wan and like thinking about Star Wars, because most hard sci-fi fans love to point out the inconsistencies with true science and physics problems that are just sort of washed over in some lighter science fiction works. You know, I think Star Wars is more fantasy than science fiction, but you know, it's a story for another day, right? The gravity issues in Star Wars are never really addressed. You know, they just kind of get on ships and they fly away and no one ever talks about it. So they're pretty much tackled in that universe. Star Wars, the story itself, it happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but they still have to deal with gravity and creating artificial gravity in this universe. We know this. Like in the Clone Wars series, the little clone troopers, they had to have magnets on their boots so they could stick to the ship when they were in zero gravity. But for most of the story, by the time we as the audience come in, they've worked out a lot of the kinks because science has been going on there for a long time. They've worked out a lot of the problems us normal humans have to deal with. They have artificial gravity generators to, of course, create artificial gravity within the Star Wars universe. This technology is mostly used a lot on starships. When they're on a planet's surface, they use repulsor lifts to push against a planet's natural gravity, right? We've seen this tech used in everything from like chairs and podiums, the Senate, right? And even starships, they use repulsor lift technology. When they're on a planet or something that generates its own gravity, they can like push against it. That's how they are able to float like that. They also use acceleration compensators, also known as inertia dampeners, as the tech used on modern starships to protect the crew and passengers when traveling in and out of hyperspace and radically changing speeds. Basically, the problem's been solved. That's Star Wars for you, baby. They're like, we figured this out hundreds of years ago. You don't have to ask about it. Because in reality, all of these aliens from different planets would have like different gravity needs based on the gravity in their own planet. I mean, this is something that The Expanse gets into a lot. So it's just kind of wacky that everywhere you go in Star Wars, gravity is not a problem. Don't ask about it. It's handled. That's sci-fi fantasy for you. It's just kind of handled.
I feel
they have an answer, but they don't even really explain how it all works necessarily, because every species would have its own needs, but it's just kind of fixed. And the universe has got along without it. Maybe you can say that like they've had artificial gravity for so long in Star Wars that all of the aliens have adapted to it and evolved with it. So it's fine. The end.
Basically, I feel like Star Wars is one of those like, you know, beloved and like franchises that have been around for so long that like they get like those science questions. It's like they just answer. It's like, oh yeah, I was like, what are you gonna do about the inertia? It's like we have inertial dampeners. Don't worry about it. Like we wrote that in just for you. I mean,
the MCU is getting there too with like the way they handle cosmic stuff, right? At first the Guardians, they all had translators that worked and every alien's got it, but then they're on Earth and people don't have translators. But you know what? It's fine. Who cares? We just gotta get through the movie, okay? Don't ask all these questions.
Like, just enjoy fiction. Jeez.
Just enjoy it. Just enjoy the story.
But now it is a part of the show that I personally enjoy a lot. It's time for the box of scraps. Box of scraps.
Put it in the game with the box of scraps.
Put it in the game with the box of scraps. Now, Brandon, if you could replace one godly or cosmic entity in the MCU, which one would you choose to take their place and why? Well, you don't have to say why, but, you know, which one would you choose?
Yeah, I mean, you want to be like a good god. You don't want to be like a bad god. You want like a fun god situation. I mean, Odin seemed to have like a pretty good go, but he was in his like retirement years. You know what I mean? Early on, it was a lot of work, a lot of fighting, a lot of battles and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, the Olympians seem to have it like really worked out.
I know. Zeus, he's got the orgies going. So I think I might have to say Zeus.
He's got chilling out. Like Zeus is a pretty good spot to take. I think Zeus is pretty high up there. Yeah. Or like one of the Aeneid. They seem to be pretty chill. They're hanging out, you know, in their own little place. They don't even come to Earth anymore. They just kind of hang out and do their thing. That would be pretty fun. Yeah. I mean, I think you got to go Zeus, right? Zeus has like.
You got to go Zeus. I mean, like Zeus is a terrible person, but he's chilling, man. He's just chilling.
He's chilling. He's hanging out. He's got kids. He's hanging out.
And like,
it makes us bad
Zeus,
people, but.
If me and you were Zeus, we would just have to find a good balance. It's like,
I'd be a really nice Zeus. I'd be very chill.
Right?
I'd be very chill. If you threw a lightning bolt through me and I survived, I wouldn't be mad. I'd let it go. I'd let it go.
Exactly. I would either choose Zeus or Khonshu, because I do like Khonshu's whole vibe. He's a very chill dude. And so, like, I would become a chiller Khonshu.
He's a chill dude? You think Khonshu's a chill dude?
He's not a chill dude, but, like, he's like, I don't know.
Khonshu's he's that old guy at the park, like, yelling at a tree or something like that. Like, you gotta worry about Khonshu. He's a little...
True.
He's a little... He's seen too much. He's seen too much.
He has seen way too much. He has too much hate in his heart, filled with vengeance. So I would be a less vengeful version of Khonshu.
Okay, I'll allow that. I'll allow that.
But yes, I would choose either Zeus or Khonshu, because those are the two gods that I saw last.
That's fair.
Just kidding.
Perfect answer.
Woo! But that is it for this episode of Big Question. Thank you as always to off-screen producer Brandon for joining me on this episode. Follow him at Grin and Barrick to see him tweet some amazing things and just to support him because he's an amazing man. Follow me at MasterTainment if you want to see me tweet some weird shit. Most importantly, follow New Rockstars here on YouTube and all other social media platforms. And make sure to hit that notification bell so you can get notifications every time we upload a video. And if you have big questions of your own to submit to us, share them on our New Rockstars Discord server. Just be sure that you are 18 years old or over and interested, and you just click the link below in the description or just search us on Discord to join the conversation. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We love you guys so much, and we appreciate the time that you guys take with us every single week. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye-bye. See ya.